Hi, welcome back. So in the last video, we got introduced to this exercise in which you had to take 5 inputs and then you had to format a sentence like this and then you had to print that to the console. We saw a demo there too, but now we're not getting anything because I've removed the JavaScript from this and we are going to write it by ourselves now. Now this is the HTML file that I had. If you were wondering how I got this list inside this list, you can make a nested list, that is this li of the ul contained another ol, and that is why there is another ol inside this li, right? So yeah, and of course you did not have to make this, so you can ignore all of this for once and just focus on this one thing, which is what we should have as common inside our HTML document, right? So I have a script tag which source is equal to jsintro.js, and if we see here, jsintro.js and jsintro.html are two files inside this intro to JavaScript folder, right? And so they are in the same directory, and I can refer to this as jsintro.js, alright? So what this script tag does, it links our HTML file to this JavaScript file right here. And if I go into this file right now, it has nothing, it is empty, and that is why on refreshing, we do not get anything, right? So first of all, the best thing that you should always do when you are just starting with JavaScript is you should whenever you link a new file, you should do something like a test run with that file. And for that, I'm just gonna do this, and I get an alert of connected. So that means my file is properly connected, even though I did not want this alert to come up. This was just a check to see, okay, my file is working. Alright, so now we have this HTML file linked with this JavaScript file, right? So now we can start writing our code. So the first thing is we need to have an year. We need to have these 5 inputs. So I'll take my input with a prompt, alright? So I'll store this in variables. Let the current year variable be CUR, which is short for current, right? And I'll do prompt enter current year. Alright, so now I need the age. I can do var age is equal to prompt enter current age. Now the next thing I need is the last name. So first name, I can do var first is equal to prompt. Need to enter something nice. Enter first name. Alright, now I need to do var last is equal to prompt enter last name. So I'm basically just taking inputs from the prompt here, and whatever the user will enter in the prompt will get stored in the respective variables, right? Yeah, so now the last thing we need is the favorite car. So I'll make a variable and I will name it favcar, and I could do this, and this is what I did while making the video, but just to show you that there's another way, I'll leave this like this for now. So now we've just told JavaScript that there is a variable named favcar, which is short for favorite car, of course. So now you could do something like this. And again, there is no good practice or bad practice in doing this or this. They are the same thing. There's literally no difference in them. But this was just to show you that there are multiple ways of doing this, right? So I'll do enter favorite car. Alright. I need a UR. Alright. So now I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables ready. And I had to need 5 inputs, so yeah, that is working. And now we need to format this string. So we could just make a new variable for this, and let's say this is var answer. Alright, and now we'll do so now we have to continue with the concatenation, right? And concatenation is basically joining of these strings. So if we see the format, we first need the full name. So I'll do something like first plus last. Now I'm telling you there is a problem in this, but we'll see this problem when we run this program once. Alright, then I get plus. Now I need a born ons here, so I'll write born on and I'll add a plus. Now I need my birthday. So to get the birthday, it is evident that we need to subtract our age from the current year, right? Because yeah, that is how you would find a birthday. A birthday is basically the birth year only. So we need to do current minus age. But there is a problem in this, that if you remember from the last video, the prompt always returns a string, right? So current and age are currently string. So if you're doing 18 minus 14, it should give you 4 ideally. But if 18 and 14 are strings, it will not give you 4. It will be like a very random thing. There's no such thing as string minus string. So we need both of these to be integers. So yeah, this line is not complete yet. We'll come back to this, but first let us convert these to integers. And as I told you in the last video, that we can do through the parseInt function. So I'll add my parseInt here. I'll add my parseInt here. Alright, so now I can do simply. Now if I do something like current minus age, this might or might not work depending on the preferences, which you don't actually have to remember unless you're not putting any parentheses. So what we can do is we can simply put these parentheses, and due to this current minus age will be calculated first before concatenating to the string. Otherwise, first, then last, then born on would have been concatenated, and then current would have been concatenated to the string, and then we would be doing something like a string minus integer, which makes no sense, right? So we need to put a parenthesis around this, and now we do current minus age, which gives us this birthday. Then we need to add this loves word, and I'll do loves. I need to add a plus, and then I need to add the name of my favorite car. So this is basically my answer string. This is what I wanted, right? And now all I have to do is I have to log this to the console. And now if I refresh the page, I get a prompt saying enter current year. So I'll enter 2020. Age 100. First name, last name, favorite car. And now if I inspect and I go to the console, I see I'm getting more or less what I wanted, and this is actually what I wanted with just one problem. And what is the problem? That there is no space between these two, and that is because we have simply done first plus last, and we need to specifically add a space in between them because JavaScript does not know that we want a space in between them until we specifically tell it to do that. So again, I'll enter my inputs. I entered the year as 202 by mistake, so I'll do 100 again. We'll get a really weird birth here, but that doesn't matter here. I enter my name, and I misspelled my name too, not typing really well here. So a favorite car. So yeah, I get the exact format that I wanted, although I have a really weird birth here. Still, this is what we were aiming for, right? And this is basically your first good practice with JavaScript variables and concatenation and prompt and console.log, all of them at one time. And now that you've done this, you will get a really easy idea of implementing code through JavaScript. Now this was a really basic code. We just got 5 inputs, we joined them in a new input, in a new variable, and then we printed that. Now you could have very complex codes in here too, which will be like really complex, but the basic procedure will always remain the same, except you might want to output this to the page instead of console.log, and we'll see how that is done later in the course when we study something known as DOM manipulation. That is something that you will learn once we have got fully comfortable with how JavaScript works, right? So for now, this is the basic thing that you'll follow. You'll get your inputs, you'll process those inputs as you want, and inputs too will be through forms eventually, and you'll process those inputs and you will print that input somewhere or on your page or anywhere you want. But this basic procedure does not change. And in your HTML, you will always do your formatting and you will include the script at the bottom. So that is all you needed to know about basic JavaScript here. And yeah, that is all for this video. I'll see you in the next